God's greetings, all within the house. I'm friend to all, St. Nicholas. Have no fear, just look at me. No wild stranger here, you see. My coming marks the year's near end. This forest man my basket tends. Good deeds and bad we must review. With ringing bells comes Krampus too. What brings him joy brings terror to you. Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to the Christmas special of the SinSters podcast. I, of course, am Betty Tucker. Today, what we're going to be doing is giving a little bit of an investigation and a little bit of an explanation on who Krampus is and why he is so important. Many Americans don't really know who Krampus is. He's very, very, very common in European countries, especially German and Austria. So here's a little information on why you should be scared of Krampus, and if you're a good boy or a little girl, you're going to be okay. While American parents might bring their children to meet mall Santa Clauses, this poem, written by Patrick Dezel of Gastein, Austria, translated by Al Redendauer, describes a very different kind of Christmas encounter. In Gastein, children traditionally look forward to the house visit, or Hausbock, from St. Nicholas and his entourage, usually on December the 5th, which occurs on the eve of Nicholas's feast day. While the American mall Santa might be accompanied by his wife and some cheerful elves, in Austria, St. Nicholas's companions may include a strange forest hermit bearing a basket of goodies and a friendly angel, but almost inevitably, St. Nicholas is escorted by Krampus, a demon complete with horns, goat legs, and a lolling tongue. During Hausbock, while St. Nicholas thumbs through his book to determine whether the children were good or bad, Krampus, or more often a small troop of Krampuses, lurk in the shadows, whips at the ready to punish naughty children. Krampus costumes typically include chains and oversized cowbells, so that the children can hear the Hausbock's party approach. Even when Nicholas pronounces the children good and gives them candy, the Krampuses often run amok in the house, engaging in rage that they have been deprived of their sadistic pleasures. The Krampuses make a scene and may even turn their whips on the parents, though rarely on the children, before St. Nicholas calls them to heel and the troop moves on to the next house. Krampus is now becoming familiar to Americans with our red and white suited Santa. Since 2010, 8 movies with Krampus as the main character have been brought to us from Hollywood, so a resurgence has occurred in American culture. The Austrian tradition of Krampuslauf, or Krampus runs, has also spread to America. In some urban areas, the Krampus troops of the Hausbock involved in the public parades of menacing Krampuses. Krampus runs have now been held in 24 American cities. A few years ago, a Krampus run in Bloomington, Indiana, drew an estimated 31,000 spectators. Exactly why this obscure alpine demon has suddenly exploded into the global culture remains unclear. Krampus's origins are murky. We do know that he is the son of the Norse goddess Hel, who is, of course, the goddess that presides over the realm by the same name, where she receives a portion of the dead. Hel is described as having been appointed by god Odin as ruler of the realm, located in Nephilim. Alan Rendauer also authored a book, The Krampus and the Old Dark Christmas, which is both a reflection of contemporary Krampus mania and the definitive English book on the subject. Krampus's ancestry begins in Western Austria and surrounding regions, where villages separated by mountainous geography allowed numerous variations of the Krampus tradition to develop. As is often the case with folkloric entities, Krampus is known by many names, some of which elide into related by district entities. Krampus bears some similarities to Germanic dark servants of St. Nicholas, such as Zolweit Petit of Holland, König Robuck of Germany, the latter of which also punishes children. Rendauer concludes that Krampus has existed in one form or another since the 18th century. The American Krampus's tradition of St. Nicholas's enforcer to his rival also mirrors the evolution of Satan. In the book of Job, Satan is the adversary of humanity but remains loyal to God. But by the time of the Gospels, Satan has become an enemy of God as well as his creation. The reimagined Satan helped to explain why a benevolent God would allow evil to exist. Perhaps Americans are uncomfortable with the idea of a Santa that would also work alongside a Krampus. So why are Americans enamored with Krampus? And why now? A common theory is that Christmas has become too saccharine and materialistic. For some, Christmas can be a dark, depressing time, and Krampus provides a vocabulary to comfort our own darkness. Krampus's malevolence can even restore the meaning of the holiday by raising the stakes. Michael Daugherty's film, Krampus, emphasizes that the spirit of the holiday is not giving, but sacrifice. The film assures audiences that they are not monsters for resenting their obnoxious family members who visit for the holidays. And yet, if we cannot muster some hospitality for these unwanted guests, real monsters will come. There is one more key to Krampus's appeal. The experience of terror may not be far removed from the experience of the sacred. Theologian Rudolf Otto, in The Idea of Holy, suggests that sacred comes with a sense of awe at the holy other, which primitive humans may have experienced as a sense of demonic dread. Otto's phenomenologic approach is certainly not without critics among religion scholars, but it's worth considering how an element of fear and monstrous changes the holiday experience. When Christians complain that American culture has taken Christ out of Christmas, this is partly a lament that an event meant to inspire religious awe now merely inspires commerce. Krampus may not have the power to make Christmas sacred, but by bringing terror, he at least staves off banality. Imagine an American child standing in line at a crowded mall for a chance to sit on Santa's lap while Christmas music drones from speakers and frustrated parents check their text messages. Now imagine a child in an Austrian farmhouse on St. Nicholas's Eve, listening for the bells that signaled the approach of the masked Krampuses in the darkness. For one of these children, meeting St. Nicholas still represents an encounter with the holy other. Krampus isn't exactly the stuff of dreams, bearing horns, dark hair, fangs, and a long tongue. The anti-St. Nicholas comes with a chain and bells, and he lashes out, along with a bundle of birch sticks meant to swat naughty children. He then hauls the bad kids down to the underworld. Why scared children with demonic pagan monsters? Maybe it's a way for humans to get in touch with their animalistic side, which such impulses may be about amusing the dual personality, according to Antonio Camarillo, who spoke to National Geographic magazine about revitalized pagan traditions. The person dressed as a beast becomes mysterious, he said. In the 1930s, the same decade that artist Haddon Sundblom began painting Santa Claus for Coca-Cola, which is the Americanized version of what Santa Claus probably should look like according to us, there was a revitalization of Krampus traditions in Austria. Craftsmen began constructing more sophisticated Krampus masks. Krampus culture continued to grow throughout the 40s and the 50s, but still had a little following beyond rural towns in Austria and Bavaria. A reference of Krampus appears in Harper's Magazine as early as 1873, but Krampus was mostly unknown in America until 2003, when Chicago author and art curator Monty Belknap published The Devil in Design, The Krampus Postcards, a book of lavish color reprints of vintage Krampenstein. Suddenly, scanned images of Krampus were all over the internet. Belknap followed through with several other Krampus projects, including a sticker book. Before long, people in the United States, the UK, and even Japan were creating their own Krampus costumes. At the same time, there was a revival of Krampus culture in Austria, with larger Krampus runs and increasingly elaborate costumes. As often happens with cultural traditions across the oceans, Americans altered Krampus, and some of these changes have been exported back to Austria. Rednow reports that Austrian designers now have heated debates concerning whether proper Krampus costumes should feature such elements as latex and red LED eyes, or if these innovations are too American. When listening to the radio in December, it's unlikely to hear holiday songs singing the praises of Krampus, a half-goat, half-demon, horrific beast who literally beats people into being nice and not naughty. However, a fantastic band hailing from a town near my home, Carrollton, Georgia, called Mayhayley's Grave, has created an intriguing and festive tune about our hooved friend.
Santa Claus, that fat smug Yuletide jerk. But did Krampus does all his dirty work. Hooves and horns and eyes of fire to harbinger joy, doling a harsh consequence for naughty girls and boys. Mildred Stain, the juggler's kid, so full of arrogance, always talking back in school, never made a lick of sense. She'd pull strange and eerie faces, and it made her teachers tense. She'd always taunt the dog-faced boy and kick the elephants. Once she strayed from winter camp and hopped upon her fence. We heard a muffled swear word and we haven't seen her since. Walk the straight and narrow, don't step on the cracks. Better say your prayers at night, you little maniac. Well, there's no escape, there ain't no turning back. You see, it's much too late once Krampus stuffs you in his sack. Bartholomew Foy always acted horribly, belching out the alphabet and cursing when he sneezed. Left dirty dishes in the sink, refused to eat his peas. He lied about his hygiene and he smelled of ripened cheese. Sullied all his Sunday best and gave his sister fleas. Now will be the demon's dinner despite all his mother's pleas. Henri Evan Endicott lied, cheated and stole to make his mom's life hell on earth seemed his only goal. Threw the widow's wedding ring straight out above the hole, broke into her wardrobe and he peed on her weak stove. All they found in bed that morn was a single lump of coal. Now there's nothing left to do but to pray for Henri's soul. Walk the straight and narrow, don't step on the cracks. Better say your prayers at night, you little maniac. Well, there's no escape, there ain't no turning back. Oh, it's much too late once Krampus stuffs you in his sack. Bratty Billy Cavanaugh never listened to his mother when she begged him to desist, torturing his brother. But still he'd smack with one hand while choking with the other, farting on a pillow before his attempts to smother. Then one foggy Christmas Eve he didn't close his shutters. Where that boy ended up would never be discovered. Peter Purvis Dinglemeyer liked to sleep in church, snore so loud he drowned the choir and the preacher on his perch. Impulsive little Creighton, he backed on every urge. He'd make so many promises, then leave you in the lurch. He vandalized the graveyard, but he never re-emerged. Now he's no more than a memory, no matter how they search. Walk the straight and narrow, don't step on the cracks. Better say your prayers at night, you little maniac. So there's no escape, there ain't no turning back. Oh, it's much too late once Krampus stuffs you in his sack. You'll feel as empty Santa Claus if ever you should slip. There's nothing left to do when Krampus has you in his grave.
I have linked all of Mayhayley's grave information in the description below. So what are your thoughts? Is the idea of children being good so that Santa brings them gifts a better alternative to instilling the fear of Krampus in our children in order to obtain obedience? I know when I was a child, the fear of Krampus would have worked so much better with me. At Little Five Points in Atlanta, Georgia, at a specialty shop called the Jumpman's Daughter, there is a Krampus photo shoot where you can have your picture done with Krampus instead of Santa Claus. I took my daughter to this just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I can say that, hands down, it is a way better experience than going and standing in a crowded mall, all hot, waiting for Santa Claus. Thank you to everyone for a great first year of the SinSters podcast. We're going to try to get back on track in the coming year. I hope that all of you have a wonderful holiday and a happy new year. And remember, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Krampus, not Santa, is coming to town. And a special thank you to Mayhayley's Grave for allowing me the use of their song in this holiday special. Bye, everyone, and happy holidays.
The straight and narrow, don't step on the cracks. Better say your prayers at night. You